Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. Eddie Hearn was on TalkSPORT apparently for, I'm told it was about an hour. And he was talking to Simon Jordan and some guy called White. Now, look, I don't watch TalkSPORT. I watch bits and pieces on the internet. And to be honest with you, I tuned out of listening to Simon Jordan a long time ago. When I say a long time ago, probably about year and a half, whatever. I just got sick of the bias, the way he held Frank Warren and his fighters to one standard and Hearn and the others to a different standard, to a far harsher standard. It's not as if I've got any great sympathy for Eddie Hearn, I don't, but if you're a journalist or you purport to be some sort of journalist, you've really got to have at least pretend to have a bit of objectivity, and Simon Jordan has never given me that impression that he has that. And to be honest, when I hear him talk about boxing, I'm not convinced he knows what he's looking at when he watches a boxing match. He may know facts and figures, he may be able to, pinpoint a few basics, but I'm not sure he interprets what he sees. I'm not sure he notices really the nuances of what he's looking at when he watches a boxing match, at least from when I've heard him speak. Unless he does, and he's simply being disingenuous again. I don't know. But anyway, I tuned out of watching him. But a few people, I think G-Man did a video on this, and I was speaking to Lee from Inside the Distance about it, and he was saying that he said the same about Jordan that I did. We sort of agreed on that. And then we were talking about, apparently Jordan and Hearn talked about Daniel Dubois quitting against Joyce and Usyk, but Jordan brought up the issue of how he perceived AJ quitting against Ruiz. And for some reason, he brought this into the conversation about Dubois quitting. And Lee and I were talking about it, and we both agreed that this is an apples and oranges argument. They're two entirely different scenarios, okay? Daniel Dubois will ignore the Joyce quit because he had a busted eye socket, or his eye socket was badly damaged, okay, and he quit. Okay, he quit. Well, but let's concentrate on the Usyk fight, where he definitely did quit. He was on one knee, he'd run out of ideas, he was completely emotionally and mentally demoralized. He heard the referee say 8, 9, 10, and then he got up. So he made a conscious decision to quit. That's quitting, okay, rightly or wrongly. And I'm not someone who condemns fighters for quitting, because I'm not the one taking punches from, Oleksandr Usyk or Joe Joyce or anyone. I'm not going to judge anyone on that score. Now, if you compare that to Joshua, who was bounced around the ring like a basketball by Andy Ruiz on the floor, was it 4 or 5 times? I haven't watched that fight for a while. I must revisit it. But he was down and he kept getting up. And even at the end, when he, spat his gum shield out and went to the corner and, had his arms across the ropes and was, basically sort of almost laughing about the situation, it hinted to me that he'd run out of ideas, and he was kind of thinking, this just ain't my day. What's going on here? This is madness. But I didn't think he quit. I thought the referee perfectly, stopped the fight perfectly well. No argument with that at all. But I didn't get the impression he quit. And also, if you're spitting a mouthpiece out, it hints that you're trying to get a bit more time to recover. And I think he'd run out of ideas, and I'm not convinced he thought he was still capable of winning the fight. But that's a different subject to quitting. It's, Teddy Atlas used to talk about game quitters, guys who'd sort of given up mentally thinking they could win, but they weren't going to roll over. So they would take the punishment. As much punishment was coming their way, and they would never quit physically, even though mentally they kind of checked out of thinking they could win the fight. That might fit Joshua against Ruiz, okay? But this whole debate, it suddenly occurred to me, that is why I think Anthony Joshua will beat Daniel Dubois. Because I think when the punches start landing, and I expect both of them to throw heavy leather, because they're both extremely hard punchers, I think when, even if Dubois puts Joshua on the floor, which he's perfectly capable of doing, he hits very, very hard, and Joshua's chin is C+, maybe, maybe a B- at a push, he'll get up and he'll fight back. And he might win and he might not win. But I think if Joshua lands significant punches on Dubois, maybe floors him, then you will see Dubois, I'm almost tempted to use the phrase, revert to type. And if Dubois is put in a position where he's not having things his own way, where he is running out of ideas again, I think he is far more likely to check out of the fight, both mentally and physically. I think of the two, the older man by 8 years, and I think there's something to be said for both these fighters being far better than they've been before. I think in the case of Dubois, his confidence is very high. He's coming off with 2 excellent wins. Joshua lost twice to Usyk. No shame in that. He went the distance twice with a generational talent, a brilliant, brilliant fighter. He's won 4 since. Mixed company. Sometimes the quality of the opposition wasn't great, but nevertheless, good confidence builders. I think when it comes to the crunch, I think Joshua will be the man who's more likely to continue fighting, continue trying to win. And I think that little debate between Hearn and Simon Jordan highlights why I have that opinion. I think Joshua is the one who will bite down his gum shield and keep fighting through the doubts. I think he's got far more inner mettle than Dubois does. And that's not an insult to Dubois. I mean, I like Dubois. If Dubois wins his fight, no problem, great. I just want the best man to win. Like with Usyk and Fury, I want the best man to win. Thankfully, the best man did win. He got it's the right decision. But my respect for Fury in that fight actually grew, because I thought, I won't go into that. This is a different video. But so long as we have a good fight and the right man wins, or if it goes the distance, the right man gets a decision, I ain't got a problem with it. But I do think that little debate highlighted why I lean quite seriously, 70-30 maybe, towards Joshua beating Dubois. All right, guys and girls, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me your time and watching the video. And if you could subscribe if you're new, please do so. You'd help the channel out a great deal there. And also hit the like button as well. Much appreciated. Every one of you, even if you don't agree with me, even if we have our little differences in the comments section, I've still got respect for you for coming over here and giving me your time. And I'm looking forward to reading your comments. All right, I'll see you later. Bye for now.